At the end of my last semester, this past spring, of course, I didn't do something that I felt I should have done. It was in my TV production course. The final production was a newscast, mock, of course. It wasn't about anything that was going on in the world at the time, but it was about things that had actually occurred in the world. Interestingly enough, people were saying that perhaps I should be one of the cast, one of the anchors, if you will. And, I made up excuses basically saying, well, I don't have any clothes for it or anything. And I started thinking about it and I was like, maybe I should try. Maybe I should attempt to do this. But I never convinced myself to do it. And I don't think it was a good idea to not do it. Especially because, coincidentally enough, one of the girls who was supposed to do it that day, she was feeling sick and she was really not up for it. Had I volunteered, had I prepared the way that I had hoped to prepare, I could have done it. And I feel that it wasn't a good idea to not do it because I look back on it now and look at the opportunities that could have assisted me. First of all, it was recorded in a professional format with higher quality cameras and with good quality mics and all that. And I wouldn't have been sitting back in a back room basically pressing the play and pause or record and stop record buttons, what have you. I would have actually been able to do something along these lines as to what I'm doing right now. And because of that, I kind of kicked myself for it. I could have used it as a demo for something. And it's the same with my speech class when we were all having so much fun with the various things we were doing. I should have recorded them, and I never did. I thought about it, I even said it out loud, but I didn't do it. And again, I don't feel good about not taking the initiative to do that, because those things could have helped me step in the direction that I want to go. Maybe it's because if it's a lack of confidence, or if it's nervousness, or what have you, who knows. Ultimately, though, it comes down to the choices that we make. The choices that I made, in this case, are I didn't do them. I didn't do them because I wasn't ready. And it's possible that that's just what was going to happen anyway. The sheer fact that because I was not ready, I wasn't going to be ready. And as much as I'd like to be ready, as much as I would like to have all the answers for myself and everybody else, I just don't. And it's frustrating. But I would say, though, that we shouldn't regret these decisions. We should look at them as a learning experience. Maybe sometimes you got to slow it down. Sometimes you got to speed it up. So what I'm hoping to do is to speed it up a bit, especially since I don't want to be stuck doing security for the rest of my life as a means of income. I need to light a fire under my ass, if you will. Something that, my parents tried to convince me to do, I would say force. They probably forced me or tried to force me to do so. But I didn't have any motivation. I didn't have anything that I felt was worthwhile. Now, it's a little different. I feel that things are a bit more worthwhile. My life, despite all the ups and downs, is way better than it used to be when I was a kid. And I know definitely when I was a kid, I didn't have it in me to take chances. I was so afraid of everything, and it did not lead me in a good direction. It makes me think of people using fear as a weapon. Say, yeah, sure, it works, but it's not a great way to rule. That's not a great way to control. A mob looks like it has a level of control and a level of consistency and cohesion, but in reality it doesn't. The cohesion is the chaos. The order is the chaos. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. I guess because it's just a simple and easy idea to sort of sell, I suppose. The sheer fact is, I didn't take the risks that I needed to take. And they weren't even really all that risky. I just got to step up to the plate every now and then. And, honestly, having done so with various things, doing this, I guess it's a podcast at this point, even though I'm just talking about my life. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Why the hell not? It sounds more fun. I've covered what I needed to cover in the initial. The name of this podcast meandering thoughts, it fits way too well with me. Like, if you look at it just on the face value of the idea of thoughts that meander, that's me in a nutshell, because I'm an ADD nut job and I can never really stay on the same topic all the time. But then at the same time, I'm always thinking and I'm always wandering. Like, it's hard for me to stay in the same place all the time and be able to remain a certain level of contentedness. I need to explore. I need to wander in order to get anywhere. And interestingly enough, too, along those same lines, title-wise, there's a video on my YouTube page called gridlockedvomit.mp4. I did that on purpose, by the way. You can name your videos whatever the hell you want, so you don't have to keep the id.mp4 at the end of it if you don't want. But it's a video of Mushu from Futurama, the episode 300 Big Boys. And it's when he's like puking, but I made it to where he pukes throughout, like consistently throughout the entire song. And the song is called Gridlocked. It's on the Frozen Cortex soundtrack. And it's funny too, because like I saw that image and I was listening to this song and I thought they'd go really well together, so I blended them together. And I started trying other songs out and they didn't fit. For some reason, this Gridlocked song worked really well with, at the time, a really short clip of Mushu vomiting. And so I just kept, I let it play over and over and over again. And it really hit me, and there's just something fascinating about it. And so that's when I actually made the whole video itself and then, rendered it, and it was beautiful. It worked out pretty much what I wanted it to be. And then I uploaded it and everything, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, this might actually be a little bit more brilliant than I originally thought. Because if you think about the idea of gridlocked usually means that you're effectively stuck doing something, typically traffic. But it's vomit. Vomiting in of itself is an act of escaping. It's release. And so the title in of itself is oxymoronic. But then at the same time, it's actually very literal, because if you think about it, sure, it's vomit and Mushu is vomiting, but the vomit is constant. It never seems to end. And it's almost as if the vomit is gridlocked. It's locked in this state of consistency, of going nowhere. And, it's just something about it made me feel like I did something right when I did that. And in a way, I could kind of turn this full circle, and it's just sometimes when it comes to the creative side that I have, we all do have one. It just took me a long time to recognize that I actually have one that may not necessarily be popular, but it's taking that step to just do it. To say, I thought of it, let's do it. It's easier to do something that is going to be judged, a couple hours down the line or a couple weeks or months or whatever, and you're not part of it, you're not there. But it's less fun, at least for me. I personally have found that performing in front of people, although nerve-wracking as hell, is rather fun if I kind of let myself go. If I just kind of go with it. Doing the Old Spice guy, and, recently I've been trying out various voices and the like. Oh, and if I sound a little louder today, it's because I'm closer to the microphone. That's on purpose. Hopefully I'll be able to find a good level. But yeah, I say that I hope. Hope is easy. It really is. To hope, it's actually quite easy. To do something, however, that's harder. It's more difficult because then you have to put the effort into it. And I'm going to do what I can to convince myself not to hope that I will be more risk-taking when it comes to taking these initiatives that I need to take. What I intend to do is to figure it out, to figure out how, so that I can do it. Because I need to. Not because, I need to save money for my kids or whatever. It's more along the lines of, I need this for me. to be the best me that I can be.
I wanna be the very best.
I need to learn how to take the right risks, to say no to the right people, to say yes to the right circumstances and the right opportunities. There will be people out there who will tell you that luck has nothing to do with it, and they're wrong. There's a lot of luck involved, but a lot of that luck you create yourself through taking on those opportunities, taking those risks, putting in the work. But I think first and foremost, the most important things to do is to give yourself the opportunity, to give yourself the chance to take those risks, to be willing to. And it's scary as all hell. And I think that I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the richest man in the world or the poorest man in the world. I don't care if you have the most talent or the least. There will always be a time where you're going to second guess yourself. You have the power to change your life. It just takes a little bit of work, and mostly just saying yes to the things that are scary.